Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Hopefully you had a great weekend and are ready for a fresh new week. I'm Kelsey Marier, your host and producer of Morning Pulse, where I bring you top local headlines for Southeast Minnesota and Northern Iowa every weekday morning right here in our KTTC digital studio at 8:30 in the morning. It is December 8th, and today we have 3 headlines for you across our area. Again, these are local headlines so that you know what's happening in the communities around you. So we are going to get started with our first headline, which is out of Fillmore County. So we're going to start with that. Let's take a look. Okay, so today we are monitoring the fact that the start of a jury trial is set for a Fillmore County man who is facing some charges for reportedly shining a laser at a Mayo 1 helicopter in 2024. So according to court records, last October, a Mayo 1 flight crew had reported someone shining a green laser beam up at the aircraft. So when they noticed that, Mayo 1 turned on its spotlight to kind of identify and try and find where that laser was coming from. Well, Fillmore County deputies ended up responding to a mobile home off County 40 in Chatfield. And they say a man who was there, Stephen Johnson, reportedly was arguing with those law enforcement, trying to tell them to stay off his property. But then he eventually admitted to shining that laser up at the helicopter in retaliation. But he claims Mayo 1 shined a light on him first. Kind of a he said, she said, back and forth there. So Minnesota court records show that trial is set to get underway at 9 o'clock this morning, so in just a half an hour down in Fillmore County, Minnesota. So that's something that we're going to monitor, and obviously if there's any changes, which we know happens very often, where trials and hearings and things can get moved at the very last minute, we will be sure to keep you updated on this specific case for today. Next up, we're going to Wabasha County, where some snowy and icy road conditions ended up causing 2 separate crashes over the weekend, both on the same highway in Wabasha County. So the first one we're talking about is on your screen here. It happened about 7:40 Sunday morning. The information coming to us from the Minnesota State Patrol. So we had learned that a pickup truck and an SUV were both northbound on Highway 42 when they collided. This was right in the area of Watopa Township, again, Wabasha County. Troopers say the driver of the SUV had some non-life-threatening injuries. They were taken to the hospital in Wabasha. The driver of the truck was not hurt in this crash. So that was the first one that happened, again, due to some slick road conditions, winter weather related. The second crash happening about 40 minutes after the first one, still Sunday morning. So the State Patrol says 2 different SUVs were southbound on Highway 61, going on that J-turn. They were in that J-turn lane to then head north when they had collided, and this was just south of Highway 42. We have learned that both drivers in this crash had non-life-threatening injuries. They both also went to the hospital. Troopers say there was a passenger in one of the vehicles involved in this crash, but that person was not hurt. So that is good news to report there. But just a heads up that we're kind of monitoring and tracking 2 different crashes in Wabasha County on Sunday morning due to winter weather related roads. And our final story this morning, we are talking about Rochester community members, in case you missed it, coming together to support the Somali community here in Minnesota, kind of rallying in the face of a crackdown on Somali immigrants by the Trump administration. So there was a gathering called We Are Home. It took place at 125 Live on Sunday. It was hosted by the Muslim Coalition of Isaiah. At this gathering, interfaith leaders, Rochester Mayor Kim Norton and the NAACP Rochester branch president were all speakers at this event. Some Somali residents there reaffirming the connection that the Somali community has with the Med-City and the state of Minnesota. The Muslim Coalition of Isaiah is going to be co-hosting another similar event to this. That'll be this coming Saturday from 11 to 6. At the Minneapolis Convention Center. And again, this is in protest of the actions of the Trump administration as of late. As we know, this is kind of a story that has been in the headlines for a little over a week, maybe a couple weeks at this point. And so we are just making sure that we're following any new developments that come affecting this community. Okay, those are our top news headlines for the day. Quickly, I will touch on the weather because we have some things to talk about for sure for the week. We had meteorologist Sarah Gannon in our newsroom today in our weather department because meteorologist Ted Schmidt was off. Today, going to be a pretty mild day. Nothing kind of impacting our weather. It's just going to be a little cloudy and gray. Temperatures should be pretty fair. We're going to see a little bit of a warm-up for the mid part of the week, mid-30s, kind of upper 20s, things like that. And then by the weekend, we are going to be seeing an Arctic blast. It is going to be single-digit highs and negative degree lows, or even in the mornings for the weekend, Friday through Sunday. So be prepared for that. There are also several chances for snow throughout this entire week. So that is something to keep in mind, whether that's for your morning commute, your evening commute, or any travels that you have to do throughout the week. Meteorologist Sarah Gannon is updating our entire website, the First Alert Weather tab. You can go and check that. She's got all of the breakdown of everything you need to know in the weather department to plan your day ahead. So just go to KTTC.com and check that out. All right, that's the news and weather headlines that I have for you on this Monday. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and I hope to see you right back here on Tuesday for Morning Pulse.